There's a way you take me up from down and place my feet on solid ground.
Whew, it's too much waiting, too much hesitating. I'm just gonna do my little makeup. We're gonna have a little chit chat. We did not have a weekly vlog this week because I quite literally did nada. I did nothing. We did nothing this week. Honestly, like when I went on that very long hiatus from being on YouTube, it was essentially because I do nothing quite often. And I feel like there's just literally no point in picking up a camera if I'm just out here doing nothing. It's quite boring. But today is Valentine's Day, so we are getting ready to head out with my husband or whatever. Yeah, we're just about to have some conversation, some real talk, some talk I feel like we really don't discuss enough as women, as Black women, as people with kids. Like, we really don't discuss some of these topics. I'm not gonna do my long wear makeup routine because we are literally just gonna be out for a few hours, and there's really no point because I don't plan on sweating. I don't plan on doing anything that requires all the oil to be sucked out of my face and for my makeup to last a really long time. Like, it's really not. We are literally just doing something quite small. We're going to go see the new Captain America movie, Barnes & Noble, and just walking around and stuff and just kind of hanging out. So there's like really no point in like ultra glamming my face today, okay? There's no point. So the first thing I want to start off with is Valentine's Day. Now, we do celebrate Valentine's Day. We do celebrate Valentine's Day, especially after we got married, because we were long distance when we first got together. Do y'all want to know what I'm using on my face? I'll show y'all what I'm using on my face. Especially when we first got together. When we first got married, because when we first were together, we were long distance. So we never really did stuff on Valentine's Day. It was more like around Valentine's Day, which was completely fine for us because honestly, we don't like the hustle and bustle of like having to get reservations 6 months out in order to do something nice for Valentine's Day. And I personally prefer the quality time over like, you know, being in some fancy restaurant and whatever. Like, I didn't really start doing that kind of stuff until I started dating my husband. But like, I mean, they were cool, going out to the fancy restaurants, being wined and dined, great. But I prefer the snuggles. I prefer to be up under you, in your skin, wrapped up tight, you know what I'm saying? Ever since we got married, we just kind of been like, we went out like the first couple of Valentine's Day. We've been married for, 4 years. We've been married for 4 years. Next year we'll make it 5, but we've had 5 Valentine's Day days together. So like the first few we did something nice. The rest we just kind of like, you want to lay up somewhere? We're still celebrating each other. We still want to spend time together, but we're not doing much. We're, like I said, going to the movies, going to the bookstore, hanging out together. That kind of quality time has been a little rare since having Dylan. It's been a little hard to come by, especially now that she's 2. And not only is she 2, but she's 2 and a daddy's girl. Y'all, when I tell you this girl does not play about her father, this girl does not play about her father. Like, she wants her quality time with her daddy. And mom, you back up. How about that? You're only here because I had to be birthed through you. But I want my daddy. All right, girl, talk your talk then. Talk your talk.
Were you pooping?
No, I was recording a video and I realized my phone wasn't in my lap.
I like that you were pooping.
Bro, so it's honestly the little things in life. And I just want you to know I'm keeping that in my video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Really, really needed that content. How long ago did you leave?
About 2 minutes ago.
Oh, babe! Hey, babe! Hey, babe!
If you called me like that, I would ignore you too.
Together.
And I also have bubbles, so.
Oh, we also have bubbles.
Yeah.
Don't we all just love bubbles? Yeah.
So if you look on the camera and you see us blowing bubbles, say nothing.
If you look on the camera, what? If you look on the camera, what?
And you see us blowing bubbles, say nothing.
I won't even be looking on the camera, so.
That's what we're gonna do. We blowing bubbles, dance parties,
Hey, listen.
and then that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's all I What is happening?
Trying to do my makeup in this dirty mirror. No, I don't even know what I
Why
did.
are you not in your bathroom?
I said I was recording a video.
You don't record in the bathroom.
No, it's better lighting in the room. I'm literally sitting on Boomy's gaming chair. What the heck did I do with my eyebrow pencil? I just had it. Oh. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Okay, back to what I was saying. Speaking of offspring, I was having a conversation with Hubs. We are in the era, thank God, where like our friends and stuff are having kids. Like, oh, you know, my friends are already starting to have, well, I say that like I have a ton of friends who have kids. My best friend already had kids, so I kind of like, I was going to her more than, you know, she was going to me, but his friends are starting to have kids. You know what I'm saying? They starting to ask the questions and they're starting to, you know, wonder who, what, when, where, and why, especially when it comes to they're a woman. Which brings me to the topic of marriage and postpartum. Now, to take you through my mini birth story, for those of you who didn't watch my full birth story, I had to have an emergency C-section because homegirl's heart rate dropped. So essentially we needed to get her out expeditiously. Shawty Low had to go. But even if I didn't have to have a emergency C-section, my hormones would have still been out of whack because I had produced so much hormone to produce this kid. Now this kid is out and my hormone has to essentially balance itself again. I didn't know what postpartum looked like. I didn't have a gauge on what postpartum looked like. I just know that there were moments where I just was sad, not necessarily like stuck to my bed, but it's just like I just did not feel like I had emotional support. I found myself making things bigger than what they were a lot more. I found myself feeling like I was on an island by myself, and that I'm having all these experiences by myself, and that nobody is noticing. Nobody is taking the time to be like, are you actually okay? So it made me, and I was never the kind of person to ask for help. I was never the kind of person to be like, something's wrong. I just have been wired for the last 35 years to just keep pushing, right? So I have this kid, I have this C-section, baby comes out, I'm now healing from this scar. And on top of that, I am feeling like my emotions are just everywhere. And so I chuck that up to just being like, it's me, I'm the problem. And I don't communicate this to my husband because I feel like it's me, I'm the problem. This isn't something I need to bring up to him. This is something that I literally just need to do and figure out on my own because this has nothing to do with him. I'm just giving all the reasons as to why I need to handle this by myself. And that was mistake number one. I did not lean into my life partner. I did not lean into the one who helped me produce this child in the first place. I simply said, because I had been, we've only been married 4 years. By the time I was pregnant, we had only been married for 2. So we're still like figuring each other out. We're still figuring out what marriage looks like for us, because we've seen examples, didn't necessarily like the examples. So like we're carving out our own like family generational pattern. On top of that, now we got to figure out how to parent together. So we're learning each other maritally, and now we got to learn each other in our partnership in a new way through parenting. Needless to say, I went through a lot by myself. Not because my husband didn't want to be there, but I didn't include him. So because I didn't include him, I started making up scenarios in my head. I started essentially just like I literally started a soap opera in my head and had convinced myself that my husband was trash. That, you know what I'm saying? He just was not, like, I chose wrong. He just was not the right person for creating a family. Like, I had told myself the works until I started therapy. And until homegirl really put out, I started therapy and I talked to my pastor best friend sister, and essentially she said, you're in postpartum. You are experiencing postpartum depression right now, like, and that's okay. Like, there is no time limit, because at this point she was a good 3-4 months. So I'm like, it can't be postpartum depression. She's like 4 months old now. But my pastor best friend sister and my therapist were both like, there's not a time limit on postpartum depression. Postpartum depression isn't like, all right, your 6 weeks is up, you're healed now, postpartum is gone. No, your body is trying to regulate and figure out this new whatever on top of balance itself out. Like your body's going through a lot. With that in mind, I kind of approached my mental a little differently, especially when it came to my marriage, because one thing my therapist asked me was, did I tell my husband? And I was just like, well, no, because my thing is, I shouldn't have to tell him these kind of things. He should just know. He should just know. It should just be in his head to like, he should just know. My therapist just kind of was like, this is something that's new for both of you. He's never experienced being a parent, and he's also never experienced a wife going through postpartum after having a baby. So when she put it like that, I was just like, the man is clueless out here. Unless and I should have known, because he's always been like this, unless you blatantly say, this is what I need. He's absolutely, he's clueless out here. Being the woman who does not ask for help, that is a horrible combination. It makes you do things like tell yourself that your husband is awful and that he's not, you forget that this man is your partner. But with partnership comes communication. You feel what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying I'm a marriage expert, because we have only been married for 4 years, but I am saying I've learned some things through this pregnancy that I'm gonna take into the next time when the next time we get pregnant, because the way I took myself through, and that's my MO, I put a lot on myself, and I put myself through these things for me to be like, I don't have to do this by myself? That's weird for me. All I know is to do it by myself. All I know is to get it out the mud. Ever since he came into my life and thwarted all that, I just don't know how, essentially, I just don't know how to function. I don't know how to function without having to do it all myself, or having to go through it by myself. Like, I am so used to that. I'm so used to these trauma-filled relationships that I was not used to somebody who was just ready for me to say what I needed. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because fellas. Oh, fellas. Sometimes, and I did tell my husband this, sometimes I do just want a little push into just saying what I need. Because my husband is very black and white. He's very, if you don't say it, I don't know. He's very like, if you tell me you're fine, I'm going to believe you the first time. And I'm just not, like, I'm working on it, but I'm just not that. I'm just not like, if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm not just gonna be like, well, not doing good. Actually, I'm suffering. I'm going through it. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I've never been that kind of person. I've always been like, if you ask me how I'm doing, oh, I'm great. I'm great. I'm flowing through life. Everything is fabulous. On the inside, there's turmoil. I just don't know. I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to receive. I don't know. So to be with someone who is like, if you don't tell me, I don't know. You've been married before. I have not. Like, there's just like there's different life experiences that I'm just like, in my mind, because of what I've been through, I just assume he knows what to do. And that's not a good assumption at all. So anyway, back to postpartum and marriage. Here's where I fell. I fell because I thought once I had this child, I am going to be right back to normal, and that is not the case whatsoever. There's a new normal, and you've never been through this new normal before. So like, why would you? And by you, I mean me. Like, why would I just assume that I'm just gonna bounce back into who I was? No idea, but that was my thought process, and it led me into a deep, long depression because I just would not ask for help. I just would not ask for help. It wasn't until I literally had a crying fit with my husband, explaining the needs of your girl, where he was just like, I didn't know you needed that. Like, and he apologized. He was like, you're right. I just thought you could handle whatever, but that was my fault because I made it seem like I could handle whatever and not lean into my partner. So what's the gist of all of this? You can get through so much when you just communicate. I don't claim to be an effective communicator. I think that was one of the first things that I said on one of our first dates. That's like, you gonna have to, if you here for the long haul, you gonna have to work with me because I'm not an effective communicator with people I'm in relationship with. With my friends, absolutely, I have no problem effectively communicating with my friends. But because I have such a thwarted, trauma-based experience of male counterparts, I don't know how to effectively communicate feelings in that way. Feelings or needs in that way. Being in a marriage that requires, any marriage requires effective communication. And I'm emphasizing effective because yelling and screaming is not effective communication. Okay? I don't care what you seen your mama and daddy do. I don't care what you saw your aunt and uncle do. It's not effective. You having a screaming match with your mate is not effective. You trying to one up your mate, get the last word in, not effective. Listen for understanding on both sides. That's effective communication. I make it a point even to repeat what my husband says, to like understand what I'm hearing, because my mind will interpret something way different than what he means. So I try to regurgitate what he's saying so I know that how I'm interpreting it is how he's meaning it. Again, not an effective communicator. I'm still working on it. But like, okay, I feel so sad yet hopeful for our generation because the ones before us, like our parents, weren't real like go to therapy. They weren't real like let's talk about our feelings. Now, there are some unicorns, like I have a friend whose parents were very open to letting her express how she feels throughout her life. And unfortunately, most of my other friends, we did not have that experience. It was more like, do as I say, not as I do. I said what I said. Don't ask why. Don't ask how. Don't ask what. Children should be seen and not heard. That's just the era that we grew up in. And it's very unfortunate because then we get into these marriages and it's like, it should be my way because I said so. Do as I say, not as I do. Husbands and children should be seen and not heard. I said what I said. All that, right? But it's so rewarding because then there's a different level of trust you can have when you can speak to the person you're doing life with and come to a resolve and understanding on both ends, and both parties feel like they've been heard and they feel seen. And I really value the relationship I have with my husband because he is my best friend. My husband and I, even when we were going through rough patches, we were still friends. We still laughed together. We still joked and talked. That's my dog, you know what I mean? Like, I want to give him the best version of me. And unfortunately, when he came around, he got a very broken, healing, in the midst of healing version of me. That is, I'll say she's better, the version of me. She's better than what he first got. But there are times where I have to check her because you can't keep, how often are you gonna keep being triggered by something that happened 17 years ago? How is this relating to postpartum marriage? You chose that man to spend the rest of your life with, whether married or not. If you're not married, you got a solid 18 years with that man and beyond, because that child is gonna grow up, gonna graduate high school. If they go to college, they're gonna graduate college. If or when they get married, they're gonna have a wedding, they're gonna want their baby. You got a lifelong with that situation with that person. So if you chose that person to procreate, if you chose that person to marry, trust in the person. Now, I'm not saying that like men shouldn't be more aware of signs of postpartum depression, that men shouldn't be more, I don't want to use the word catering, but I'll use the word catering. I'm just saying, ladies, let's trust in the spouses and or partners that we chose to show up. So when they ask if something's wrong, don't be trying to make them do detective work, okay? Let them know, I'm not feeling myself. Something's not right. I just don't feel great. I feel like I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to take care of my baby. These are real feelings that need to be expressed because you don't express them, he's probably not gonna know, especially if you're still carrying on like everything's okay. But also, it becomes a dangerous situation because you then can snap. And that's the reason why I felt like I had to talk to my husband, because I felt like I was getting to a place where I'm about to snap. It's not gonna be pretty for anybody, and I'm gonna say some things that I won't be able to come back from. So I need to have a conversation with my best friend, with my partner, with my husband. I need to lay it all. I cannot be strong Brittany in this moment. I cannot pretend to be strong, and I cannot pretend to not feel all over the place. We need to talk. You need to go put that baby down or to put Dylan in bed. We need to talk. Oh, I told y'all I was gonna tell you what I was gonna use, huh? I'll put it in the description below. There's no time limit on it. If you need, mommy, if you need time, if you need a minute to like rest, sit down. And oh God, this is why. Another reason why I would never leave my husband. My mother-in-law is so great. My mother-in-law is like the absolute best. She, at the drop of a dime, I think my husband had told his mom, like something's wrong with Brittany, or Brittany's not doing okay, or something he told her. And I guarantee you, I kid you not, the lady was on the next plane, literally, quite literally the next plane, and she like stayed for a week or something to keep Dylan so I could get some rest. I mean, match made in heaven. My mother-in-law and I, because of my husband, but like, freaking love that lady. You just gotta express the need. I get the whole rhetoric of being like a strong, independent woman, especially a strong, independent black woman. I get it. But like, we don't need to be strong all the time. Can we not be bosses for 3 seconds and not be frowned upon because we don't want to be bosses for 3 seconds? Like, can we allow men to be men? Do we want to have that conversation, or should I just we gonna keep going? Don't let social media and stuff make you feel like you gotta be a boss 25/8. Like, you, girl, let that man take care of you. You've been through enough. You've prayed, you've asked God, and you've received the man you prayed for. Allow that man to do what you prayed for him to do. Get out of your own way. Ladies, we are our own detriment sometimes. You know, for the lack of lighting, this doesn't look too bad. My eyes look really brown. I'm here for it. Order. I'd like a sweet and pungent shrimp. You guys want to know? This is so funny. Do you guys want to know how I knew my... Do you guys want to know how I knew my husband was the one? And I kid you not, my best friend Ariel can attest to this. When he came up here, because like I said, we were long distance. When he came up here, I had quoted a Mulan line from the movie, and he quoted it back and laughed. And I said, I think I found my person. Then it got even better when I would do I would quote like Emperor's New Groove, and I would say, name the movie. By the way, my best friends hate when I do that, but I would be like, look at me, my bad self. And then I'd be like, name the movie, and he'd be like, Emperor's New Groove. What you doing for the rest of your life? I don't think I have ever laughed so much. Like, you know how when you're first like dating someone, of course they just seem like funny off rip. They're like just the most hilarious person in the world. But like after a while, you're like, you're really not that funny. You're like, something's actually wrong with you. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there is something actually wrong with my husband, but he's still absolutely hilarious. We still laugh like we did when we first got together. We still like, that's my dog, yo. Like, I go to war for that one. I would go to war for that one. What lip combo should I do? Should I do like a neutral lip color? Should I go like red or not? Because where's my red? Do I have to do red? We're just going to the movie. I'm not doing red. Last time I did this, it came out really cute. I only used a lip liner, and see, this is what I mean. My camera be focusing. What were you focused on just now? Oh my God, my lips are so dry. I need to go give my girl Shavisa a holler. My skin, something's going on with her. Okay, I just lined it like this. And because my bottom lip is pretty dry, and pink, I just, I just did that. I had some gloss on there. Oh my God, I cannot believe my lips are so, I need to exfoliate. I am going to change into my clothes and put some jewelry on, and I still don't know what I'm wearing, y'all, but I will be right back. Okay, This isn't gonna be a great outro, but this is the look. I'm just wearing like this tank top tucked into some blue jeans. Just kept it simple with my heart earrings. I really want to find a cute like set to go with both. Doesn't matter, but this is the look. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Soften up the mess, drop it in the water, let the daughter find her image with the rest. She'll be learning how to breathe, spinning